All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. I'm going to go ahead and touch on this subject right here. Because in my last video, people are still asking. It has almost 1,000 comments, so people are very passionate as well as very proactive about this subject. Now, listen, even in the Senate, Senator Paul Ryan made a statement live on TV. And of course, he's speaking in code, but he did that probably about 2 months ago. And one of the statements that he had made is that we need to be having babies. Did you hear what I said? He said that we need to be having babies. Now, he's not talking about Americans in general. He's talking about white people need to be having babies because statistics are showing that the birth rate concerning Caucasians or white in America has steeply declined, and now it's even got the Senate worried. And of course, I would also say this: well, whenever you have an unjust system that passes immoral laws or laws that are against the man in general, and you start granting all these privileges and rights and favors towards the opposite sex or the woman, we're looking at, as the old saying goes, the chickens coming home to roost. Think about that for a second. The chickens coming home to roost. Because you've got these family courts, which is outside of the constitutional courts. So you got these family courts and stuff that's not even under the direct regulation, and neither can they even be sanctioned by the Supreme Court or any of the three branches of government in this land. It's a total separate entity. That's because people chose to go and contract with them. And when you go contract with the beast system, even if it's outside the scope of the Constitution, you get exactly what you deserve. See, what I'm telling you is things that people won't tell you. What I'm discussing with you is things that people refuse to discuss with you. And the reason why they don't want to discuss these things with you is because they want you to continue to be a cash cow. And so now there's a lot of women coming on this video highly upset because of the men are making a decision of going their own way. And of course, then on the equal opposite side, there's also the women stating and saying, "I understand. I can see the reason why," because you look at these aggressive women that have more or less of a man character, a man's spirit, a man's attitude, a man's disposition, a man's outlook, and they even try to speak like a man and talk like a man. And they realize that there's limitations on the man based on the government and not because of the law of nature itself. It's pretty sad what's going on, the destruction of the family. You can blame nobody but the court system. You can blame nobody, nothing more than what we have allowed to actually take place and go on in this country. So the only other way for a man to not be able to experience this type of tyranny is to opt out. And to opt out is by not contracting with them, whether people like it or not. Now, if people take it offensive by saying you need a prenuptial agreement or something like that, I often say that's one of the hallmark signs to show that they actually don't love you. Because even in the book, if we go back to the Bible, marriages were performed by the father and the priest, or the father, or just even the two agreement of a woman and a man in itself, before witnesses, and they had a contract, they had an agreement. And that man actually left the actual, or that woman, excuse me, she actually left the headship of her father and then ended up under the headship of her husband. So now we got women today that are more than likely are glad and happy to take the headship of the state. That's why I keep telling people over and over again, when you enter into a marriage license, you enter into a third-party contractual agreement with the state. And the reason why you have no power to dissolve that particular contract is because you are not the head. The woman is not the head, but the woman is 90% heavily favored. And fines and levies and taxes and extortion will be levied against you if you choose to participate in it. So a lot of young men even coming up today, they're choosing to opt out of marriage simply because they cannot put up with some type of metamorphosis, schizophrenia, fringe lunatic of a woman that may go off at the handle at any given time and make up all types of lies and stuff and get him thrown in jail or either financially bankrupt. And so they're spending their money on themselves. And again, I reiterate this. The majority of the people that I've talked to and came across in MGTOW are the ones that are very educated. And these people spend a lot of time thinking. And some of them have been burnt really bad, and they're not going to do it again. So what they're doing is doing their due diligence to inform you if you choose to go forward, if you choose to actually marry, if you choose to have children by a woman, is they're trying to inform you so that you can be informed so you don't make the same mistakes that they make and end up having to pay the price that they paid. I don't think that is illogical whatsoever. I think it's insensitive that whenever you do go get a marriage license, that the terms and the conditions of that contract is not disclosed to you whatsoever at all. You see, that's the problem right there, is that we innocently go in and do these contracts simply because everybody else does it. Who said that you need one? I mean, if you make an agreement with the woman, the truth is, according to universal law, biblical law, you're already married. You don't need the power of the state. The reason why most women want the power of the state, because if in case one day something takes place. Now, mind you, I'm not painting a broad brush, and I'm trying to say this applies to everybody, so I'm not doing it. I'm painting the brush that I'm talking about responsible, moral, righteous men who would never, ever, ever even think about in any way, shape, fashion, or form or harming a woman. And at the same time, things like this has got to be said, because I mean, it's bad what we see going on in this world and time and society today. So I hope I've said something to stimulate thought. I hope that each and every last one of you out there will take heed to these words that's being said, and pass this dialogue around. Take it. Hey, you got the right to share it as much as you want to. If YouTube needs clarification, tell them to refer themselves back to this particular video right here. And I hope y'all have a good day. If you want me to answer more, I can't get to every one of them, but when I look and I see that some of them need to be discussed, I would actually come back and maybe do another video. I want y'all to have a wonderful, wonderful day. Shalom, shalom, shalom. King coming.